Sometimes it's hard to believe that the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, was actually led by a guy named Jim Comey, the worst person who's ever worked in federal government in my book, and damn near a criminal. Looks like to me he committed a crime this afternoon. In addition to all the Russian hoax stuff, right? I mean, some bad stuff there. But this is just creepy and weird and most likely a violation of law. All right, this is Comey's Instagram account, 8647. Does that mean anything to anybody? The code is 86, which means get rid of, do away with, throw out, get rid of, right? The 47th president of the United States. Let me see that one more time, 8647. He was just walking around. Right there. He says he was walking around, saw a cool formation of shells on my beach walk. Number one, what the hell is he doing walking on the beach? What is it? It was like 1 in the afternoon on a Thursday. See, Rich Comey he's rich. Jim Comey is very, very rich, very well funded, has the proverbial screw you money. But this is a crime because, how do you get rid of President Trump? Right? How do you get rid of President Trump? Impeach him? You can't. The Republicans have a majority. Do you defeat him at the ballot box? No, he can't run for president again. What do you have in mind there when you say get rid of the 47th president of the United States? I think he's talking about killing the man. Yes, like they already tried in Butler, Pennsylvania. 2 assassination attempts, and the former FBI director wants another one. He is the deepest of the deep state characters, this Comey. And they have already given themselves the moral and, believe it or not, I think they had the legal justification to take Trump out. I mean, the vice president of the United States said it out loud.
In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump.
And I never realized this before, but the day before President Trump was shot, July 13th, 2024, the then President Joe Biden came out. This was the night before the assassination attempt. Joe Biden, let's hear that one.
And despite that some folks don't seem to care who you voted for, well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. No! Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
All right. Sorry about that, folks. That's July 5th. A week later, he did say on July 12th that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. And that kind of talk is dangerous. And it's one thing when it comes from, that weirdo in West Palm Beach who went to Ukraine and everything like that. But this is from the former director of the FBI, the present director of the FBI, Kash Patel, an American hero, posted this. We are aware of the recent social media posts by former FBI Director James Comey, directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide all necessary support. So they're going to go down there and question him at the very least, hopefully throw the handcuffs on him. There are laws that prevent people from threatening the President of the United States. 8647, that's the message. It's an old restaurant term. Get rid of, cancel the ham and eggs. 86, the ham and eggs. The guy wants tuna fish. Well, in this context, I think it means kill. Now, what did Comey say about all this? He put out a statement himself. I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on the beach, which I assume were a political message. I don't believe him right there. I think he arranged that stuff. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. He's nervous. Now, then again, he's coming out with a book next week. Is this a great big plot for, attention, book publicity stuff? I don't know, but it's wrong. It's horrible. Jim Comey, man, oh man, oh man. You know what they should do? Well, when they question him, take very careful notes, because the moment he lies to the FBI, right, you commit a crime. He set perjury traps for senior Trump administration officials like Michael Flynn. Probably catch him in a perjury trap, but we're better than that, right? Right. 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 All right. What's next, please? Hey, what is really going on with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff? Where is the information? Oh, by the way, Ted Cruz is going to be here in just a little bit for more on what should happen to James Comey, the former director. A lot of us are not so satisfied with the progress. We thought we were going to get all the data, all the paper about what Jeffrey Epstein was up to and who he was up to it with. And there's this theory, though. Was Jeffrey Epstein working for the government? Now, if you think about it, in a weird way, it could make sense. So after much anticipation, the White House released, and promises, by the way, the White House released the Epstein files, right? Remember that? And a lot of influencers went to the White House, picked them up, and it turned out if you went through it, you know, there was nothing there, nothing really there. So how about this? If he were working for the government at one point, let's say he was providing services to certain people. Oh, hold that thought. Burns, a Mr. William Burns, former CIA director under Joe Biden. He was also the Deputy Secretary of State under President Barack Obama. This man had numerous meetings, at the very least, that he admits to, with Epstein. Why in the hell would that guy be meeting with Epstein? It makes absolutely no sense, but we have it confirmed from the CIA itself. Put it up on the screen, please. Why did they meet? The director did not know anything about him. But, next please, Mr. Burns met with Epstein as he was preparing to leave government service. Epstein offered general advice on transition to the private sector. They first met in Washington. And then Mr. Burns visited Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan. That's kind of crazy. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe if there was a relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and the government. Here's something else that people have forgotten about Jeffrey Epstein. He owned a portion of a modeling agency in Europe, right? A really successful one at the time, and it may have changed management and ownership since, but it was called MC2 Model Management. And Jeffrey Epstein's good friend, a guy named Jean-Luc, we see them all on the plane together. Ghislaine is on the left, Jeffrey Epstein on his private plane, and the guy on the right, that's Jean-Luc Brunel is his name. Okay, those guys are good friends. They run a modeling agency together. Is it possible, and here's the theory, that Jeffrey Epstein was supplying people all throughout the world with high-end models and then would find them, perhaps videotape them in compromising situations, and then therefore having leverage over these individuals? The Central Intelligence Agency has done a lot of stuff, dirty stuff over the years, and sexual exploitation and honeypot stuff. This is kind of part of the tradecraft of espionage. Is it possible? Couple of other things here. Ghislaine and Jeffrey, there they are in happier times. Jeffrey, we believe, is dead. Ghislaine is in prison right now. When they brought her up on charges, you know, we've all heard of the hundreds and hundreds of women that they preyed upon, but they had only like 2 or so in the courtroom. It was a kind of a small case. It could have been much bigger. And why did they do that? Is it possible that there is a lot of information that the government has that they hold as leverage over, say, I don't know, leaders of foreign countries, right? Like the folks who gather at the UN. How do we sometimes get other countries to do things they don't want to do? How do we sometimes get people to do things more enthusiastically that they would possibly do not so enthusiastically? Blackmail? Perhaps. Perhaps. There are some high-level folks I have spoken to who believe that this is a real possibility. And also, well, Jeffrey Epstein himself, almost nobody knows what he sounds like. Let's take a quick listen to this.
Yes, I report back to jail at 8 p.m.
Every single day?
Yes, sir.
And is it 7 days a week that you're out on work release?
No, sir.
How many days a week are you out on work release?
6.
And of those 6 days, how many hours per day are you out on work release?
12.
It's really weird that he got so much time off from jail, went to weekend jail, for molestation of young girls. Who gets a great deal like that from the government? A government employee? Another thing, this Jeffrey Bunnell guy we were talking about, Jean-Luc Bunnell on the right, who owns the modeling agency. Handsome guy, they say, right? He was, a Frenchman, and people liked him. Now let's take a look at him, Jeffrey Epstein, and the main witness that kind of helped bring all of this down, Virginia Giraffe. Do we have that picture, please? All three of them. You know, they're no longer with us. All three of these key players died by suicide. Isn't that like fundamentally just too weird? I don't know. There's a lot we don't know. I'm also told that maybe there aren't these documents. They don't exist. The CIA actually, they destroy a lot of stuff. We may never know, but it is an intriguing possibility. All right, next, please, we go to the Middle East. President Trump welcomed like, well, a man who commands respect, adoration across the world, in the heart of the Middle East, in the United Arab Emirates. And what is the number up to right now? $10 trillion in commitments and investments to America. That's Joe Biden can never, ever, ever deliver like that. And as President Trump travels, we see these unbelievable structures. That's not the Taj Mahal. That's a building in the UAE. They're just unbelievable. And they seem to be making a real impression on President Trump. Watch this. It was just a nice line, right? Nice house. You walk into something like that. They say if God had money, he would have had a place like that. Bernard Shaw said something to that effect. It's not exactly nice, but this stuff is incredible. Democrats are saying that they are very impressed with what Donald Trump has pulled off on this trip. Some senior Biden people are saying, wow, we should have tried stuff like this. Only he could, though. Only he could.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.